It is February 1st, 2016, and this is Global Skywatch Radio. Here we're going to talk about the largest crime against humanity in human history. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk with people who suffer from it. We're going to talk with people who feel the pain, like myself. We're going to expose what's going on. We're going to talk about the details about what's going on, why it's going on, who's doing it, and solutions for it. I want to give you a little update this week. I'm probably going to be starting a weekly News Bites YouTube channel. If you want to go to a YouTube channel, search for Global Skywatch Radio on YouTube. Actually, just Global Skywatch is our name on YouTube. And if you find us there, you will find all of the past shows that we've done and all the guests that we've had, all the things that we've talked about, and there have been some pretty in-depth things that we've covered in the past. If you need the phone number to call into the console, I would like to have people call in and chat with me tonight. We're going to move quickly. We're going to talk to guests quickly. We want to have your input, but we want to find solutions for the largest crime against humanity in human history. I also want to cover some of the deeper subjects over time. We're going to do this bit by bit. Finding the time to do the research to put a show together is very time-consuming, and I do it as I can. If you need the phone number to call, one of the many other things as well. So, if you'd like to call in, please go to globalskywatch.com/live, and the phone number is there. There's also an access code that you'll need to use. There are local numbers for about 30 different countries or something like that, so you can call in from whatever country you're in, and please talk to us. The phone lines are all wide open right now, and I'll get to callers in just a couple minutes. I do want to cover some things, though. As you know, my name is Russ Tanner. I'm the founder of Global Skywatch, and I talk very often on our Facebook group, which, by the way, is called Chemtrails, Global Skywatch. We put the word chemtrails in front of the group name in order to make it easier to find by those people who know that term, because that term is becoming increasingly more popular. I know it's not the most beneficial term to use, but unfortunately we're kind of stuck with it. So it does help people find information about chemtrails on Facebook. So search for the group Chemtrails Global Skywatch. I often talk on our Facebook group and write posts about the pain that I'm suffering, that I can smell and taste. The chemtrails, when they descend, the particulates fall out and they descend to ground level. I taste them and I smell them. It has been a horrific past 2 days. Last night, and it usually happens after dark. They time the spraying so that right about the time the sun is going down, it just gets bad. And that's pretty much the pattern right now that we're seeing day after day. The mildest time of the day, and I'm just going to give you this information. You're not going to hear this from other places. I wish that you would, and I want other people who do smell and taste them to talk about them, to log these patterns and to pay attention to this and share it with others. I would really like this. But I'm going to talk about it now to make it real to those who are joining us. I know I'm preaching to the choir in one respect because a lot of you know about all this already. You're familiar with this, but we're trying to reach new people. And you might have noticed that our Facebook group now has over 50,000 people in it. In fact, I believe it's up to 52,000. Let me look right now. In fact, I'll check. 53,025 members in our group, and there is 1,684 waiting to get in to the group. So this is starting to grow exponentially, and I told you a few years ago, I said it would. We are rounding the very bottom a couple years ago on this show. I said we're rounding the curve of awareness about this issue. And now we're beginning to see the rapid acceleration of people waking up about this issue. And we're going to talk tonight about ways to get whistleblowers to come out of the closet and start talking about this publicly, ways that we can, strategies. We're dealing with a very unorthodox issue. We're dealing with something that is the largest crime against humanity in human history. And we have to use unorthodox methods to combat this and to get people involved, especially whistleblowers. Kim, I also noticed that you're in the chat. Thank you for being with us. I wanted to contact you early. Forgive me for not, but you're more than welcome to call in. Please do if you can, and we'll chat, and let's have you be a virtual co-host with me if you want to. It's always great, and thank you for taking over the last part of the show last week so that I could go on and do other things that had to be done. For those who are listening on the phone lines, forgive me if I mute your phone lines. I need to keep the background noise quiet while I talk, and I will have you all on in just a few moments. So hang in there because I want you to talk, and I want to talk to you, and I want you to share what's on your mind. This last week, let me talk about the spraying. Here's the typical patterns that I see. I'm going to share this with you right up front and make this real to you. So if you know people who don't believe in this, it's not really real to them, they think that government conspiracies are just theories, they're going to wake up and realize that this is very real. And I want to share this information with you to make it as real as absolutely possible. What I do is I've written a series of articles on this, and if you look at your video feed right now, this is Global Skywatch website. If you click down here in the left sidebar, in fact, let me open up a couple monitor windows with me so I can better guide you on the website tour here. globalskywatch.com. Down in the left sidebar, right down here, you'll see a link that says My Chemtrail Story. If you go there, I've written a lot of articles that chronicle my experiences with this crime against humanity and how I've suffered, how it's changed my life, how it's completely changed my health, and how I can smell it and taste it, and so on and so forth. And so please take a visit to globalskywatch.com. Click My Chemtrail Story. You can also go, there are a lot of chemtrail stories on here of many people. We have a growing collection. Up here under References, click on Personal Chemtrail Stories in this link up here. We have a nice long collection of stories right here. And you can also add it yourself, and you can send it to me and it'll end up here, or you can actually go to our online forum, which the link is right here. You go here and look down through the forms. We're creating new forms in new areas so we can better organize information. So this forum, you'll notice, is very organized. There's categories for every particular area that we need to have specific information on. So you can go to the chemtrail story, My Chemtrail Story, right down here. Click in here, and you can see that a number of people have added their chemtrail stories. You can do this yourself. You can log in, register, and add your story yourself. Also, I hope that people will view and post test results. You can click here and go to our test results forum. We actually have 6 different areas here that do drinking water, rainwater, blood, dust, soil tests, and other tests. We collect these so that people can see them and people can, again, make this real, because this is very real. A little bit more about this week. What's been going on this week? We've had really bad spraying the last couple days. We have, thank you, Kim. I see you put the access number and code there in the chat room. Thank you very much for that. I can always count on you, and I appreciate that so much. This past week, the typical spray pattern that I've seen for quite a while now. Now, in the old days, but let me cover the old days a little bit for those who haven't heard this yet. I've done many radio interviews. And by the way, if you want to hear these interviews, and I never thought in my life I'd be doing this, go to globalskywatch.com and click here on Global Skywatch Interviews, right here, and you will see a pretty comprehensive list. I've done quite a bit more than are on here, but this is the majority of them. Some of them we can't repost them because they have paid archives. Some of the shows we did, they never, like some of the more mainstream shows, interestingly, half of those, they never posted them publicly. They did interviews with me or with me and other people, and they were never publicly available, so I never got recordings of them or was never able to repost them. But nevertheless, I've done many interviews, so please visit the interview section here and check out these interviews. The latest one I did on Raven Star's Witching Hour. This is Solaris Blue Raven. She's a wonderful woman who is raising awareness, opening people's eyes about all kinds of subjects, including chemtrails. And this interview, very pleased with this last interview we did. We have 2 hours, so it's long, but we move fast and we cover a lot of information, and a lot of it is very, at the end, we really talk about inspiration, keeping the flame burning, keeping your passion up, because it's very hard oftentimes to do this when you're met with such opposition and you've got to fight the current of mainstream media. But again, let me get back on what I've experienced this last week. The last couple of days have been horrendous. I've talked about in the past about patterns where spraying leads storms. This has been a pattern I've noticed for years. The aluminum, the iron aluminum type, I call it that because it tastes like a combination of sort of like iron. It's a little different than iron, but it definitely tastes like aluminum combined. And if you want to find information about the chemtrail types, again, go to Global Skywatch website, click My Chemtrail Story and Observations, this link down here in the left sidebar. It'll bring up this page, and right here in the left sidebar you'll see chemtrail types. I wrote this article because I noticed that there were different types. Those types were sprayed on different schedules. They had different health effects on myself and other people. And even though the people around me, this is very important, the people around me don't feel the physical effects of the chemtrails. I'm sorry, they don't smell or taste the chemtrails. They still do have physical effects. Their behaviors change. They get headaches. They get body pain. They feel lethargic. They feel tired. And these are not subtle feelings. And these things are right in sync with the spraying plumes that reach the ground. And understand that even though the background level of these metals and chemicals in the air are always there, they're always there at a certain level, there are plumes that do reach the ground, and within the period of about 60 to 120 seconds, it'll just become horrendous. The taste and smell in the air, and I'll have to wear a wet mask. And I actually have a article on a website, on our Global Skywatch website, telling you how to make your own wet mask, and I want to soon make a video about this. Again, time is an issue, but I'm doing the best I can. If you want to find that article, go to the Global Skywatch forum and community, then go down to this section where it says Chemtrail Health and Survival. Under here, there's an article called A Wet Mask, a Cheap and Viable Means of Protection. Click on that, and this goes through how to make a wet mask with some updates, how it's worked for me. It's kind of funny. It's not really funny, but it's funny in a way, because you could make a joke about the wet mask, because you can say, yes, Boeing 747 tanker, I don't know what they cost, $350 million or whatever they cost. And then I want to say wet mask, $3. Protecting yourself from chemtrails, priceless. Because the bottom line is that there's nothing that helps me more than to wear this wet mask. So anyway, getting back to the particulates that descend to ground level, for the last couple of years, a new type was introduced. And let's go back and look at the types. I'm going to go to this article, the 8 major chemtrail types, which should be labeled the 10 major ones, but I left the title the same. You can click this little link to jump down to the types. And here's all the different types now. The most recently introduced type is the model cement, glue, or burnt plastic type. I call it this based on its taste and smell. And you have to understand, you get a real education in the senses of taste and smell when you experience something like this, because I believe that these things have been designed to be very difficult for most people to taste and smell. And I'm sure that they probably did much testing through the 80s and 90s to perfect the methods of making these as undetectable as possible. Ironically, there were a few types like the sulfur type right here. The sulfur type was very detectable. Let me zoom in on this list a little bit for you. The sulfur type was very detectable by a lot of people. And incidentally, I mean, it even made the news. There were cities that were covered with the sulfur type smell, and of course they brushed it off to this event or that event, or a leaking sewer pipe in the ocean, and all these ridiculous things. But nevertheless, there would be areas many miles that would be covered with the smell of sulfur during spray days. This didn't last long, and this is one of the patterns I've noticed, is that when a chemtrail type, its smell or taste was very detectable by the public, it was very short-lived. They did it for a little short while, and then they stopped, and they didn't use that type anymore. The sulfur type is one of them. The other one is the pesticide type, which you'll see right here. This smelled just like pesticides. It smelled like malathion, or someone had just sprayed their lawn. And this would spread out over many miles. I mean, I remember the first time I experienced, or one of the very first times I experienced this in Jamestown, New York. They started using the pesticide type periodically, and I smelled it and walked around outside and smelled it all over. And of course you could think, well, maybe your neighbor sprayed their lawn or something, which is not something you typically do at the times of year that I first encountered this winter. But Just to remove that doubt and that possibility, I drove to Erie, Pennsylvania, which is an hour away, and I could smell it for the first 20 minutes of driving, which was probably 20 miles or more, because I was driving on an interstate well over, not well over, but somewhat over 60 miles an hour. So we're talking about 20 miles, a 20-mile radius, and you could smell this pesticide smell, and many other people could smell it too. And I got a lot of reports from other people online who could smell it as well. And so guess what? This type did not last long. They did away with that. This brings me to another point real quickly, and I'll get back to the weekly report here in a minute. And I want to, this brings me back to this this other point that this is part of the reason I believe for monitoring of the public communication. This is why the terrorism acts and all of this this infrastructure has been built to monitor our communication. It has nothing to do with terrorism, because if you understand that virtually all the countries in the world today are controlled by the same industrialist banker group, very small, tight-knit group of families. If you understand that, then why would one country be committing terrorism against another unless you believe it's just some lone rogue groups that they don't control? But when you do your research, you really find out that the use of false flag attacks is important in their eyes, because it allows them to put the public in a state of fear so that they can pass legislation to then clamp down and bring into play all kinds of legislation to monitor the public. So what is the purpose of the monitoring if it's not to protect people from terrorism or from dangerous people? Well, the real purpose of it is because when you're constructing a lie that's global, when you're constructing a lie even for a large area or a large population, the most valuable thing you have to reinforce and to support your lie is information. You need to hear the feedback that the public provides you. You need to hear the conversations that people have with their friends to find out, is the lie working? Do people believe it? And to start collating, well, what lies work, what lies don't? What lies do we have to push harder? What lies are not being believed, so we have to push more supporting information, more supporting disinformation out there to coerce the public to believe them. So this infrastructure is absolutely critical for fooling a large group of people. So anyway, so you will find that when these particular types, like the sulfur type of chemtrail and the pesticide type of chemtrail, have been utilized, and they only were short-lived because many people were smelling them. And the infrastructure that's set up to monitor the public was most certainly the device in which they utilized to find out that people were smelling it, and that made them suspicious, because anybody with common sense would say, well, if I'm smelling this strange odor in the air, they conclude two things. Number one, it's in the air. If you smell something, as I do, I smell and taste these, as hundreds of people who have contacted me also do. If you smell and taste these things, they are in the air. It is not your imagination. It's not induced by solar radiation. It's not some kind of anomaly. It's in the air, and anybody knows that. If you smell something or taste something, it's in the air. The other thing that people have to realize is that if these odors occur over large areas, that more than likely the only explanation for it is that these are being dispersed from the sky. And that would lend so much credibility in the public eye about the actual chemtrail programs that it would draw so much attention and so much opposition, because nobody in their right mind would be agreeable to spraying toxins in the air and trusting the government to do the right thing in that regard. Very, 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 very few, very small percentage of the public would be in favor of something like that. And so they have to have a feedback mechanism so they know that people detected the sulfur type and the pesticide type, and therefore they stop spraying them. So that's just logical. That makes sense. And what I'm showing you right now are artifacts of the chemtrail spraying program. We know so many of our relatives don't believe it, and the ones who are iffy and wondering, they're not doing anything about it. And this is very disheartening. It's hard to live with. I know a lot of people who've talked to me and myself that that in my own life, when I talk to people about it and they don't care, and they have this attitude that, well, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care. And it's the lack of connection between people. It's the lack of love, the lack of connection, the lack of caring between people that makes people have this attitude that says, well, if it's not affecting me, I'm not going to worry about it. And those who are doing the spraying are counting on it. Because if people saw me suffering so badly and smelling this and tasting this, and they said, wow, you know what, I believe you, and that is bad, and I am going to educate myself and get busy doing something, even if it's 5 minutes a day, which is plenty if there were 50,000 people doing 5 minutes a day, then everything would be different. We would not have these problems. But they are counting on the breakdown between people, that people don't care enough about each other. People don't care about the suffering or the long-term consequences. People are short-sighted, and they don't care about the long-term effects. And they're counting on that. So getting back to what I was talking about, these infrastructure, let's get back talking about this infrastructure that they monitor the public and why it's put in place. So this very thing, so the sulfur type and the pesticide type, so that these things, when people detect them, they don't want to threaten the chemtrail program. They don't want to be found out because this is the largest crime against humanity in human history. And so they need some way to monitor the public's communication. So when they see that people are smelling and tasting these things, they will pull those particular substances out of circulation and go to substances that people do not detect. The latest type, and this is where I'm going to get back into the local news, is the model cement burnt plastic type. This is the one right here. Here's the article on it. This talks about it. And there's a picture of model cement glue. I actually know what model cement glue smells like because I made models as a kid, and I was very familiar with that smell. Having a very sensitive sense of taste and smell, it was very second nature to me to catalog those in my mind. You know, you could smell something and immediately you go, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is. But I hadn't smelled model cement glue since I was a kid. And so when I first experienced this chemtrail type, I couldn't figure out what it is, but it did ring a bell in my mind. I said, you know, that's a familiar scent, but I don't know what it is. Well, somebody made a video on YouTube, and let me show you this video. Go to the Global Skywatch forum. So you click here on the forum and community. Let me widen the scope out. Go to the Global Skywatch website. Just go to globalskywatch.com and then click right here on the chemtrail news feed. If you go down here, I'm going to do a search. If you want to find an article quickly, here's a tip for you. Control F in all of your major browsers, virtually all your browsers, whether they're major or not, will open up a find window. And here in Chrome, which I'm using right now, you can see that find window in the upper right. It's kind of small, but it's there. In fact, I'll zoom in on it. I hit Control F once again, and it brought up this little window right up here in the upper right. Okay? What you want to do is if you want to find an article, just go up there and type. And I want to type, I want to find the article that I posted with a video about model cement glue. So I'm going to type model. There it is. And Chrome and all the browsers do the same thing. They highlight the word for you so you can see it. And there it is. I found it right away. This is a nice tip for using your browser and finding information quick. Do page searches all the time. Control F, you can do a quick word search for a page. Here we are. Melted snow smells like model cement. I saw this video. And this is a great little video. And I love when people do this. I mean, you need to be chronicling the things, the anomalies that you are seeing and putting them out there publicly so people, more and more people become convinced. This is how we round this exponential curve of awareness that we are now experiencing because there are enough people doing this. I saw this video about model cement glue where people took snow, melted it, and it had this gooey stuff left over. And they actually said in this, it smells like model cement glue. And the second I read that, I said, that's it. For the last year or 6 months or how long it had been before I saw this, between the time they started spraying and I saw this video, that was the odor. That was the new chemtrail type that they were spraying that I could not recall the source of the smell. And so it smells like model cement glue. So it's been dutifully named model cement burnt plastic type because it actually has a component in there that smells like plastic or burnt plastic. If you've gotten cheap toys for Christmas or your kids have gotten cheap toys or you've ever seen those toys that just are made out of real cheap plastic, and they have almost a burnt plastic smell to them, and they almost have those little lines in them where the two injection molding pieces come together, the molds come together, and a little bit of plastic seeps out the seams, and just the real cheap stuff. It has that component in there as well, but I will tell you that that component has been lessened. And because I've seen how components have grown and lessened and changed over time, that most of these chemtrail types have multiple components to them. Many of them smell not just like sulfur. Like there's a sulfur type just smelled like sulfur. There's a pesticide type just smelled like pesticides. But there are other types that had a combination of odors kind of together. And this is one of them. Now, the interesting thing I will tell you about a trend, again, you're probably not going to hear this anywhere else, but those who can smell and taste the stuff, I hope that you will publicize this or call me, contact me, and come on the show. I want to hear from you, and I want you to share your experiences. This is your duty. This is what you can do. If you're wondering what you can do to put an end to this, give your testimonial, what you smell, what you taste, what you saw, what your experiences were. This is powerful. You've got to help wake up people. And also, I'm going to take a little tiny break here and say, please, for those who want to call in and talk, I'm going to open the phone lines. They're open already, but I'm going to start talking to you in just a few minutes. Call our phone lines, call into the console. You can get the phone number by going to globalskywatch.com/live, Live. And the phone number is right there along with the access code. Call into the console and join us and share your experiences and your information. All right, getting back to the model cement glue in several different types and what's been going on in the big picture. This last week, this is the most common type that has been sprayed, the model cement glue burnt plastic type. This is the most common type that has been sprayed over the last couple of years by far. And the thing that I've noticed as they've used different types over the years, the first type that I experienced, I called the salty metallic type, because it tasted like salty metal. And incidentally, at least half the people, well, not at least, but almost exactly half the people who first experienced this with me said they could taste a little bit of salt in the air. They could taste the salty part, but they couldn't taste the metallic part. One of them did, actually. One tasted a little bit of salty metallic. The other one just tasted salt. The other two people didn't taste anything at all. So dramatically varying differences in the ability to smell and taste this, depending on who you are and how sensitive you are. But the thing that I've noticed, and this is important information to see how this has migrated, is that salty metallic type caused me plenty of symptoms, but they're not as bad as the symptoms that one of the newer types caused that began several years later, which was called the metallic chemical type. This type caused much more dramatic inflammation, more dramatic pain, more heart pain, and more chest pain, and to the point where I was moved to make more phone calls and do more to raise awareness about this, but that's another story. But the bottom line is this was a much worse type, and guess what? This became the prevailing type. They would spray this after dark. They'd spray different types during the daytime, which were milder, and they would spray sometimes on the weekends were different, but the metallic chemical type became the predominant type after dark. And I imagine that some of the statistics we see about people having most heart attacks on Sunday nights have to do with the fact that weekend spraying is worse also, and that's been going on for a long time. But those are more patterns I can talk about too. I mean, I could talk about so many patterns about these, but I just want to give you a flavor and make this real to those who hear this video, because it is my duty to be honest about this and talk about what is going on. So the metallic chemical type became the prevalent type for a few years, and it was the worst, had the worst symptoms. And then they migrated to the model cement type, which has worse symptoms yet. This is the most reactive type in terms of my health issues and those who I've spoken to. And there's a certain percentage, maybe 1% of the population, I'm not sure what the exact percentage is, but I've had a lot of people contact me that do know other people who smell and taste this as well. So I'm not alone in this, and I am very delighted that other people do smell and taste it. I do want to take phone calls in just a minute and talk with all of you. I want to keep this fast-moving, information-packed. I want to keep sharing information with you. And I want to cover a range of information each time so people can come here every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and expect to learn something or listen to the replay. If you want to go to the replay, go to the Global Skywatch YouTube channel, and all of the Global Skywatch shows are posted usually the same night as they occur, late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, and you can listen to any of them. They're all there to be listened to at any time. All right, so this has become the most common type, and what this has led me to believe, which I really believed all along because I have a background in government cover-ups because I've studied this for many years, for a few decades, is that the pattern that I've seen is that the more harm, the more reactive that this was to myself and to other people, the more they sprayed that particular type. Now, I'm looking at our broadcast in our chat room, and I'm seeing that it says that the broadcast has ended. If you're able to still hear me on this broadcast and you're able to call in, please let me know if you can or cannot hear this, or if you can or cannot post, because I've been having increasing problems with live stream, and it's getting prohibitive because this is happening every week now, and I don't know why. So if you're in the chat room or if you can call in on the console, please let me know if you can still hear or see the broadcast. I'm going to refresh the page and see if it's working. This has become a very common problem. It's making live stream pretty much unusable for us the way that it's going like this. So I will contact them and see what I can do. I've refreshed the page to see if I can start this again. I see 30 minutes ago, Carmen said there was no audio. Well, this is the frustrating thing about doing live radio. I don't know if I'm being heard or not, but this will be posted either way. I refreshed. I'm going to go here and check the event stats and see if there's anything I can do to fix this. So I'm sorry for this delay. I don't have the time to edit out all of this stuff, so no, it's fine. Everything is set fine and properly, and yet it is showing that the broadcast has ended on the broadcast page itself. So please bear with me for another few seconds. Ironically, I see that more people are watching now. Well, if anyone is listening to this, please go to globalskywatch.com/live. Call in to the call-in console and tell me whether or not you can actually see this show happening. We have more people watching now, according to the stats, than were watching a few minutes ago, and that wouldn't normally happen if the broadcast was dead. So please call in and let me know. Well, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for people to call in, I want to share a couple more things about you, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines for you to chat. I want to hear from you. Please call in. Go to globalskywatch.com/live and call in, and also share the archive of broadcasts with other people. There are some very, very powerful, very interesting guests that we've had on over the years, and those are timeless shows that need to be heard so people can understand the issue of the largest crime against humanity that we are facing right now. All right, a couple more things I want to cover, and then I want to get to the phone lines. Couple ideas. First of all, I want to start a group of people who are going to make phone calls to local officials. I personally believe that by calling and educating local officials about this issue, that we can put cracks in the dam and start making some progress in getting the local governments to recognize this and give credibility to this issue. And as you call in on the call-in line, just hold tight for a minute, and I'll call on you in just a minute. I see people calling in. It's good. I'm glad you're calling in. Thank you for that. And by the way, somebody just called in a few seconds ago. Is this someone who wanted to let me know about whether the stream was still working? If it is, go ahead and speak up and let me know, because your mic is open. If not, that's okay. You don't have to say anything. Can you hear me and see the stream, or is it really broken?
I lost it.
Okay. Can I ask who this is? You don't have to give me your full name, but who is it?
My name is Dixie.
Dixie. Hi, Dixie. Thank you for calling in and letting me know. So the stream has been lost on live stream. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a real bummer. I can see here that it looks like it's lost as well. And yet my system is trying to still pump out the stream, but it's not being received. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Is there anything else you'd like to share while you're talking? Is there anything else you want to share, or did you just call in to let me know that?
No, because I lost you on there. But I mean, I've been outside today, and I've felt this is the first day I've felt sick in a while. I usually just stay home, and I don't go anywhere because I don't have a job right now because I have chronic illnesses. But today, particularly, I've been sick ever since I've been outside today. And they do spray pretty heavy here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I've noticed, Dixie, and I want to share this with everyone as well, I want people to really realize how sinister this is. And I am one of those people. You can go search, the internet, and you'll find that there are people who can smell cancer, who can smell illness on people. And I've been that way all my life, and when I was younger, I thought everybody was that way until I grew up and realized that they weren't. And there were people that I could tell when they were getting sick. And 9 times out of 10, when I could smell this illness on them, the next day they would have a sore throat, flu symptoms, they'd be out of work. And it's just something I learned to live with. And I said, well, I found out that I have a very sensitive sense of taste and smell. But what this has enabled me to do, and this is why I talk about this publicly, because I feel like I have a duty to do this, because one day people are going to realize that I am telling the truth, and they're going to wake up and realize how sinister this really was, is if you're looking at the stream right now, for those who can see it, if you can see it, I know some people have lost it, or maybe everybody lost it, but there's a type called the swamp water type, and the swamp water type has the exact same scent as occurs when somebody is sick. And when somebody has a respiratory infection, between my close friends, I call it virus breath. I'm like, you have virus breath. You have some infection in your respiratory system. You need to take this, that, and the other and get rid of that, because otherwise you're going to be in bed tomorrow. And I'm right almost always on that. And people have come to respect, the people closest to me come to respect that, because you can't say that to someone who you're not really close to. But nevertheless, I would let them know that there's something going on in the respiratory system because I can smell it. And so this swamp water type, I remember when it first started occurring, and this has the exact same odor. And what I notice is that when this is sprayed for prolonged periods of time, people in our area get sick. If they spray for 3 days in a row, people begin getting sick. If they spray for a week in a row, many, many, many people are sick. And one time in Maine, this only happened once, but in my area outside Bangor, Maine, a few years ago, they sprayed this type every day for 3 weeks, and they shut down the schools, and the pediatricians' offices had waits of 3 weeks. You couldn't get in for 3 weeks because everybody was sick. They shut down the school system because so many people were sick, and it was directly related to this type. Now, that should be mainstream news. People should be calling me saying, and contacting other people who can smell and taste and say, is this true? Is this really? And we should start testing, and all kinds of things should happen, because that is an artifact of what is being done to us intentionally. And even when they spray through the night, this type, even when they spray through one night, I'll wake up with a mild sore throat, which I can get rid of in a couple hours with supplements and bolstering my immune system. Not a big deal, but I can taste and smell it in the air, and it's the same as when people have an upper respiratory infection. So, and here's the thing I wanted to tell everybody. I'm sorry, Dixie, I didn't mean to talk so long, but that tends to happen. That this particular type is, and this has happened over the last few weeks. We had some snowstorms come through here. This type is sprayed usually 2 days before a snowstorm starts, or a big temperature drop. And this is a very consistent pattern I've seen. So if you reverse engineer this, why are they doing this from a psychological point of view? Because most people still believe that cold weather gives you a cold and makes you sick. And the real ironic thing is that that they're doing on a psychological basis is they make people sick, but they do it strategically with incoming cold fronts and snowstorms, so that people blame their illness on the snowstorms and never ever think twice that maybe something is being done deliberately. Once again, I'm telling the truth about this. For those who know me or don't know me, I'm just telling this because it is my duty as a human being to warn people about what's being done to them, and I don't care what people think of it, because one day everybody will realize that this is absolutely real and this is absolutely happening. So, Dixie, I'm so sorry to have spoken over you so much, but tell me more. What were you saying just a second ago?
Oh, no, you're fine. My daughter is also sick right now, too, and I'm concerned about her because she's 16 and she has to go outside of the bus stop every day and, have to go outside. And she's not felt good in the past few days. And today's the first day I've been out the whole week, and I was fine until I went out today. But I just kind of would like to know what we can do personally to maybe detox at home, which is what I try to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let me tell you the number one thing. I want to tell you the number one thing that I do to keep myself. Remember I told you a few minutes ago, I said there's a couple things that I do to get rid of my sore throat, because every night they spray through the night, and this wakes me up. When a plume falls down, and this is serious to me, this has changed my life. This is why I'm so frustrated and angry about this and talking about this publicly when I have a million other things that I prefer to be doing. But I have to do this because my conscience would burn inside me, and has, when I haven't followed through and told this to the public. And even if we have 10 people listening, over time these videos get heard and more people hear it and learn about it. And I hope that everybody shares it so more people do learn. But anyway, what happens, what I do, two things I do. I get rid of that sore throat. I'm telling you what works for me. This is the number one immune stimulating supplement that I've ever taken. And I'm not going to even probably tell you my website because I do sell this. But trolls and shills, government shills and trolls try to accuse me, say, you're profiting from this. I'm not profiting from this. I lose money doing this. I spend more money on my servers to serve this information to the public. Even though there's Google ads on there, they don't even begin to cover my server costs. I'm out of pocket about $150 a month, minus a little bit. I do get a little bit of that back from the ads, but it doesn't even come close. So anyway, I encourage people to go out and check out a supplement. Look up Immune Stimulator. Is what it's called, strangely enough. It's called Immune Stimulator. It's made by Nature's Sunshine Products, and it has beta-glucans in it. It has Reiki and shiitake mushroom extracts, and it has astragalus, has other immune-stimulating herbs. And let me tell you, I have convinced more people that herbs work with that supplement than any other supplement. I have had employees. I don't have any employees now. My business has gone down to its smallest size right now, but I had a few employees a few years ago. And they would come in feeling a little ill, and I'd say, you know what, you want to try something? Here, try this. I'd give them 4 of those things. An hour later, they're like, wow, I feel better. Does it really work that? I'm like, yeah. It takes about an hour, and I actually start to feel, I noticed that, wow, I'm feeling a lot better. So Immune Stimulators made by Nature's Sunshine Products. Look up for a local distributor. I won't even tell you my address or my website where I sell it because I don't want to be accused of making money from this, because that's not my point. But look up Immune Stimulator by Nature's Sunshine Products and find a local distributor. Support businesses in your local area. Find somebody locally who distributes it and try it. That stuff, it's not cheap, but it's awesome. And with Nature's Sunshine Products, if you buy $40 or more worth of products, you can sign up and get membership costs. There's retail and membership. Membership's a lot cheaper. Go ahead and buy the $40 worth, because then the whole year, the next coming year, you get membership costs, which is basically like a wholesale cost. Immune Stimulator by Nature's Sunshine Products. That's the biggest single thing that keeps me functional, because they use this this bacterial swamp water type chemtrail, this biologic type, very often now, and my body just starts to crumble under it. And I can feel those flu symptoms. I can feel it all getting me. I get up in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. But I'm not worried about it anymore, because then I'll just take I take 4 or 6 capsules, and then an hour or 2 later, I'll take 4 or 6 more. The other thing that I do is eat pumpkin seeds or take a zinc supplement. Pumpkin seeds are extremely high in zinc. Zinc is critical for your immune system. And sometimes when I didn't have my immune stimulator with me and I just ate a whole bunch of pumpkin seeds, I would feel the difference in an hour as well. So that's a powerful combination. Buy the if you want it all in supplement form, you can also buy a zinc supplement from Nature's Sunshine, which is excellent. I really like that company. So find a local distributor and support them, because they're helping people stay healthy in your immune stimulator in zinc. Or if you don't want to take a zinc supplement, just eat a whole bunch of pumpkin seeds. Those two things together, tremendous help. And the other thing, of course, don't eat sugar. Processed sugar, even fructose from fruit, is very much a hindrance to your immune system. So try to stay away from it. Now, the problem is that sugar in combination with mercury, and everybody's exposed to mercury now, is addictive. So if you have sucrose, which is like candy sugar, or you have fructose, it's addictive in a sense, where if you have it day after day and then you skip a day, you will feel bad. You can get headaches. You can feel very, very sluggish. You feel like you're not getting enough oxygen. You feel tired. You can't think. You have brain fog. And then you have a candy bar, and boop, you're all back again. But that's because you're alleviating your withdrawal. And you can stimulate hyper insulin reaction. There's all kinds of stuff we could talk about. But anyway, I hope that helps people, and I hope that helps you too, Dixie. If you check out those two products and try Immune Stimulator and see if it doesn't help. And don't be afraid. It's not. People sometimes are afraid to take too many capsules. Like, oh, I don't want to take more than one or two. No. This is a plant. This is food. In fact, herbal supplements are considered foods by the FDA because they're just plants. So take 4, take 6. If I need it and I feel that I'm weak, I'll take 6 at a time. And like I said, an hour or two later, I'll take 6 more capsules. And you feel it. It's great. There's no side effects. You feel your immune system kicking in, and it makes all the difference in the world. And I can't tell you how much staying functional, active, and being able to keep my business going, which is a lot of work for me, has paid off much more than the cost of the supplement. So I hope that helps, Dixie. That's one thing you can do. And you also mentioned about detox as well, right?
Yeah, I do herbal detox teas all the time, like every single day. And I take charcoal pills sometimes when I feel like I've been exposed. I've had to be outside a lot.
Absolutely. What I do is for detox is, first of all, if we're going to detox, it's good to know what we're detoxing. I believe that chemtrails, this is my personal belief based on a lot of evidence, a lot of research, some lab testing. Chemtrails, the bulk makeup of chemtrails is aluminum, barium, mercury, and there are other things that we have found not as frequently, but cadmium, lead, and arsenic as well. And I think that I wouldn't be surprised at all if all of those things are coming from chemtrails. I tend to believe they are because I believe that part of this plan is depopulation, and they want to make people sick and have a nice, long, slow death because then the Rockefeller-controlled pharmaceutical industry profits from it. And so these people don't want to just depopulate. They want to profit during the process. They're very smart and very shrewd that way, and that's the way they work, and that's the world we live in. So nevertheless, if we're detoxing aluminum, malic acid, better than most pharmaceuticals, incredibly effective for detoxing aluminum. Malic acid. You can find malic acid, contact your local Nature Sunshine distributor, and find a product called fibralgia. It's kind of like fibromyalgia, but they abbreviate it. It's called fibralgia. So find fibralgia that has malic acid in it, or you can find other sources out there if you want to. Malic acid, very, very good at removing aluminum from your body. Another thing that is very effective is vitamin C. And when you take vitamin C, make sure that you take citrus bioflavonoids. I can hear someone type. Dixie, is that you typing on your keyboard, or is that someone else?
No, it's not me.
Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. Whoever's typing, go ahead and keep typing. I'm going to mute your microphone temporarily just to keep the background noise down. But if you want to talk in a minute, I'll unmute everybody's mic. So no problem. Here you go. Okay, so fibralgia for malic acid, vitamin C, citrus bioflavonoids. There's a product by Nature Sunshine called citrus bioflavonoids. Highly recommend it. I take it daily. Also great for removing aluminum. So detoxing barium, potassium is one way that it's believed that you can remove. And I take potassium, the best form of potassium. There's two types of that are the best forms of potassium, but the cheapest and most available, you can get it from a couple sources. If you want to support your local Nature Sunshine distributor, buy combination potassium from them. Great potassium supplement with a few other things that are synergistically working together with the potassium to help get that barium out. The other thing is stimulating glutathione production in your body, and you can do that by taking N-acetylcysteine. That's a precursor that's used for glutathione production. You might also need to take methylated folate and cobalamin, which are vitamin B12, methyl B12, and methylfolate. Also are useful for people who have the MTHFR gene mutation issue. If you know that you have that problem, then you'll end up taking methylfolate and but you have to have a test for that. find out if you have that MTHFR. Okay, barium. Okay, now what do we, mercury? Mercury, one of my favorites. I believe in doing everything naturally, but one of my favorite supplements for removing mercury from the body is DMSA oral. Problem is FDA put an end to that. So many people were getting rid of their kids' mercury symptoms and their autism by using DMSA. Usually I like to go natural, but this is special. I really do like DMSA. It was really benefiting a lot of people. I didn't know of any real side effects other than the detox reaction that people would have, which is true of any supplement you take that mobilizes toxin out of your body. So I found that very valuable. DMSA is very good for mercury detox. It's part of the Cutler Protocol. If you want to know more about the Cutler Protocol, go to a website called Amalgam Illness. Amalgams are those silver metal fillings in your teeth that emit mercury, according to the CDC, 3 to 17 micrograms of mercury per day per filling, 24 hours a day. Amalgamillness.com. Dr. Cutler's book is on there, all about mercury. And Dr. Cutler has a protocol that involves the use of DMSA and alpha lipoic acid, which is often abbreviated ALA. Which is an antioxidant that crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's in the brain, central nervous system, assists in glutathione production as well. And glutathione is the main detox supplement. So if you can provoke the body's production of that, then you can help detox. But be careful. Go slow. Don't make yourself feel too bad. You don't want to do this quickly. Detox is a marathon, not a sprint. All right, so that covers mercury, barium, and aluminum. And there are other things like lead. EDTA is usually used for lead. Some practitioners use it for mercury, but it's not particularly useful for mercury. I mean, it does help with mercury, but it's much more useful for lead detox. Cadmium, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I haven't researched cadmium. But generally, any of the bad metals, you can use. Anything that stimulates glutathione production can be very helpful. One of the mother herbs, if you're over 35 or 40 years old, your glutathione production slowly decreases, and therefore oxidative damage increases to your body. There is an Indian herb called hirataki, and this is the mother of all Indian herbs. This is the king of Indian herbs. Hirataki stimulates, now it tastes bad, let me tell you. It's a bad tasting bitter herb. But it has been shown to increase glutathione production in people who are middle-aged and above especially. It's very effective for that kind of glutathione production. Besides using alpha-lipoic acid or N-acetylcysteine, you can also use hirataki. And again, these kinds of things you often feel worse before you feel better. So people can't judge whether it's working or not by how they feel immediately. They just have to kind of stick with it and see if there's long-term improvements. There's a little bit of detox information. I hope that helps everyone, and I hope that helps you too. Still with us, Dixie?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anything else you want to share? Any other observations you're having, or any other thoughts?
No.
No? Okay.
Just trying to get the word out there, trying to get people to realize this is real. It's like something that's happening, and it's not chemtrails, it's real.
Yeah. This is one of the things, Dixie, that's really amazing is that if people ever doubted that there was a government conspiracy, these are hypocrisies or contradictions, I should say, in the government's program to disinform the public, is that they're claiming that contrails have been around since the 50s. But why is it all of a sudden that only now in the late 2000s are they starting to produce children's textbooks saying that they're a problem? Why is it only now that people are worried about the pollution or that pictures have shown up? And this is happening all over the world. I mean, I saw a French textbook recently that is teaching children that these are contrails in the sky. The problem is I've watched the sky since I was a child. I collected pictures of jet aircraft, and I have never. I lived on military bases. I traveled the United States. I used to travel every year. I've flown north, south, east, west, I've gone on ski trips to Snowmass, Colorado, which is beautiful. I love Snowmass. This was when I was younger. I've always watched the sky. I used to go to drop zones where they parachute as a hobby. You can go to drop zones, one of the most popular ones in Zephyr Hills, Florida. Been out there many times. I grew up in Florida. And in all my sky watching and picture collecting and picture drawing and watching everything that it had to do with jets, because that was always my favorite technology since I was a kid, I'd never seen a trail come out of an engine. Not even once every 4 to 6 weeks. Growing up in Florida, I grew up north of Tampa, and there's an Air Force base down there called MacDill Air Force Base in South Tampa off of Kennedy. I know right where it is. Been down right near there several times. Been all through Tampa. And so occasionally we would see some I can't remember what they used, F-16s maybe. I don't know. I can't remember what they were, but there were some fighters that would often go over. Sometimes you'd see one, but usually you'd see a pair, and they're flying in formation, and they go whizzing across the sky. You don't hear sonic booms. Of course, we did a few. Like every 5 years there'd be a sonic boom because they were chasing something or doing whatever they do. But even those jet engines, which are very inefficient, which burn a much more fuel than today's efficient high bypass turbofans. You know how often I saw a trail coming out of those jets? Not to mention all the commercial jets I've seen and all the pictures I collected over the years and all the sky watching I did and all the traveling I did. Zero. Never have seen a trail come out of a jet or a low bypass turbofan or a high bypass turbofan. Never seen it. Now, if you go to an air show, don't be fooled, so people know you will see trails at air shows, but that's intentional. They intentionally create those trails so you can more easily follow the action in the sky. So, and of course, the kicker for me is the fact that I can smell and taste them, not to mention the hundreds of people who've contacted me who also smell and taste them. I've watched them spray in the sky, and depending on altitude, it takes longer or shorter amounts of time for it to reach the ground. When they spray higher, it takes a longer time. When they spray lower, it takes much less time. And also another interesting kicker is that when the sudden surge began of people becoming aware of the spray program, guess what everybody started seeing in the sky? Suddenly, they started turning their sprayers on and off every 1,000 feet or so that as these things spread out, they started looking like rectangular clouds, and then they started morphing into more so that they would look more like clouds. Because if you see a continuous streak across the sky, even after it spreads out, you can kind of recognize that that's a trail from a jet that's been left. But they started, and I got reports of this all over the world. It was coordinated. All the countries of the world. It doesn't matter if it's communist. It doesn't matter if it's socialist. It doesn't matter if it's a democracy or a republic. All the countries of the world are doing this, and they're all synchronized at the same time. And this follows the pattern that I've been trying to teach people, and many people have been trying to teach people for decades, that all the countries of the world are run by the same group of industrialist blankers. So anyway, what they started doing is turning the sprayers on and off for like every 1,000 or couple thousand feet so that these things wouldn't look so much like trails. And this was one of the attempts. And it still happens. They still do that from time to time, but not as much. But it seemed like experiments they were doing in a number of areas to try to see if it would fool the public. And probably it worked to some degree, but it made it a little harder to recognize these as jet trails. Anyway, so this is all just trying to keep this out of the public's eye. Not to mention, I wrote an article for those who can see the stream right now. Let me go to the top. Here's my chemtrail story and observations. Look in the left sidebar for the article that's called "Plumes Change Overnight." Click that, and you will see that in 3 locations, Bangor, Maine, Jamestown, New York, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I witnessed where they started trying to hide the plumes from the public by spraying at high altitudes, and suddenly all the trails were short most days of the month, with the exception of maybe 6 to 8 or 10 days a month. The trails were all short, and they were flying at high altitudes, much higher altitudes. Nevertheless, the smells, tastes, and stuff in the ground were the same. It just took a lot longer for the particulates to reach ground level. Is there anything else, Dixie, you'd like to share? Dixie, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I think I'm good for right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, appreciate that. Appreciate you joining us. I do want to mention a couple things before I bring other callers on. Is I want, and if we don't get a response from this, then I'm going to really kind of wonder why I'm spending my time trying to do this activism. We've got approaching 53,000 people in our Facebook group, and there are hundreds of other Facebook groups out there totaling, I'm sure, much more than that. Of course, many overlap, but I mean, we have a tremendous number of people who have some awareness of this. And it's actually to the point today when you talk to people about chemtrails, you'll find that just random people in public, in many areas, people are reporting that over 75% of people actually know about this. Even though they're not doing anything, they're not actively involved, they actually do know about it and they do believe it is going on. In other places, it may be as low as 10%. Depends on how active people have been in that area. But here's what I want to do, and I wonder why I'm doing this. You know, if people don't get involved and work together in doing this, then this is just a waste of time, and we're going to suffer dire consequences, which we are quickly on the path to. But nevertheless, what I want to do is we need to call our local officials. I think that this would be very effective in helping local governments become educated about these subjects and putting pressure. The local governments and the state governments are going to be a prime source of pressure against the federal government, which is such a cesspool of corruption and is coordinating all of these activities. Obviously, this is this airspace. They have to get permission to use this airspace. All these white and silver unmarked jets and gray unmarked jets that are spraying have to have permission to use the airspace, and most of them don't have transponders. And I know some people in some areas do see a lot of commercial painted jets. That's something we need to analyze further and verify that that's happening. And who knows, maybe they're painting commercial jets, or maybe they have some kind of disinformation program. I have theories about that because disinformation programs are very extensive. People have no idea. But nevertheless, we need to call local officials and teach them and educate them very professionally. But I think people are frightened. Most people are timid to do that because they don't know enough. They don't know what they're talking about. So what I would like to do is get groups of people together. And if you want to participate and get together in groups and start doing this, I would like to have people who conference call, get 2, 5, 10, 20 people together and have one person who's the spokesperson, and you will call your local Bureau of Air Quality or whatever your department is called in your state, and call the local officials together. And you'll have one main spokesperson that talks, who feels more comfortable, and it will help the rest of you to become comfortable doing it and also educate you on how to respond properly and get some experience without actually having to do it. And I think that would be a great way to feel comfortable and get some experience doing this so that more and more people will call local officials, because that's a very, very powerful way to make progress in this area. Another idea that I want to share with people is something I shared on the Global Skywatch, Chemtrails Global Skywatch website just recently, and that was is this. Let me read what I wrote here on the Chemtrails Global Skywatch not in a website, the Facebook group. And Kim, I see you're on. I'm glad you're with us. I'm going to mute your microphone just temporarily because I'm getting some feedback, and then I'll unmute you in just a moment. Okay. Here's what I wrote, and this is another thing that I think is really, really important that we should do. I wrote this. This is in the Chemtrails Global Skywatch Facebook group. This is pinned to the top at the moment. It says, because these spray programs are never going to be openly admitted by governments, we must find creative ways to open the floodgates of information and evidence. I'd like to get your feedback on this idea. Here's the idea. We pressure Congress to pass legislation granting immunity to whistleblowers of such programs, the programs that violate these types of human rights, whether civilian or military, so long as they have direct evidence or have witnessed the inner workings of such activities. Immunity would only be granted to operators, pilots, and other workers at mid to lower level ranks, so as to expose those in higher level positions. What are the pros and cons of such an approach? I'd like to talk about that a little bit tonight, that government, if it wants to maintain the appearance of doing the bidding and having the best interest of the public, should not be opposed to granting immunity to whistleblowers. So there could be a lot of public pressure that could be generated for this kind of legislation. Because right now, the pilots and the other people who are involved in these programs, the ones who have come out, and there have been a few, they have all said that they have been chastised, pressured, threatened from demotion, firing, court-martials, or even death. And this is very, very serious. So if there was some kind of immunity that they could come out and step under this safe umbrella, then if we could get a whole floodgates, if we could open the floodgates of whistleblowers coming out and admitting this, because some of the whistleblowers who came out have admitted that there's a lot of dissension among the pilots because they don't want to be doing this, but they're doing it under duress. So this is another tactic that we could perhaps approach about putting an end to this. All right, that I like talking about. I'm going to open the phone lines just a second. I really like talking about the inner workings of the government as well, too. What are their religious beliefs? Why do they do the things they do? Because people have a really hard time getting and understanding why they do the things they do. And when the thing is I want everybody to understand that once you study it enough and you put the pieces together, it becomes self-evident. It becomes self-evident, and then you get to the point where you understand the big picture. You can begin actually expecting what they're going to do next. And in fact, right before I open the phone lines, I think I might want to read one thing to you. There's a newspaper article. Let me find this. Let me make sure I can locate this first, and I will put it up on the... here we go. Yeah, let me put this up on the stream in case the stream is still active. I know some people can't see it. I don't know. But what this is this is a newspaper article from October 13th, 1975, and it's called The Communist Rules for Revolution. And let me read this through for you. And this will give you some idea of how these things work, because you have to understand that the disinformation campaign and the covert operations against the public for the sake of the very few, very wealthy people at the top is very, very intelligent. They know the public better than the public knows themselves, and they use that against the public. Because if you don't know yourself and you don't know how the public works, and they do, they will always win. And that's exactly what they're doing. So we have to know and understand ourselves. And we can understand ourselves to some degree by knowing how we react as a group, as a body, to situations. And we can learn more about that by seeing the methods they use against us. Let me read this article, this newspaper article, to you real quickly, and just to give you some thought. And I would love in future, maybe even tonight, to get into the heads of the elite. What do they think? Why do they do what they do? Who are they? Why do they spray themselves? They really don't spray themselves, but some people think they do, and they're confused by that. But anyway, here's the newspaper article. I'm going to read it real quick, and then we're going to open the phone lines immediately after. A reader who has kept a copy since we first published it in April 1970 has suggested that, quote, lest we forget, unquote, the following be published again. Here it is. Publishing again because a reader requested it. So write into your newspapers. Sometimes they will respond, and you'll be surprised at what they'll print. In May of 1919 at Dusseldorf, Germany, the Allied forces obtained a copy of the Communist Rules for Revolution. 50 years later, the Reds are still following these rules. Here are the rules. A. Corrupt the young. Get them away from religion. Get them interested in sex. Make them superficial. Destroy their ruggedness. Recognize any of that? In destroying ruggedness, that can be done chemically, by the way. B. Get control of all means of publicity, thereby get the people's minds off their government by focusing their attention on athletes, sexy books, and plays, and other trivialities. 2. Divide the people into hostile groups by constantly harping on controversial matters of no importance. 3. Destroy the people's faith in their natural leaders by holding the latter up to contempt, ridicule, and say that word. I'll leave that up to you. I'd have to look that up. It's an interesting word. Number
Hello?
4. Hello.
Hi, Raz. It's Carmen.
Hey, Carmen. Hey, if you can hold on a second.
Hi.
Hey, if you can hold on just a second, I'll have you in just a sec, okay?
Well, you're coming through. I just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, good,
And
okay.
we're chatting down in the lower box.
Oh. Oh, I see, okay.
So everything's good.
Oh, good, I'm glad it's working. Thank you for letting me know, Carmen.
Okay, honey.
Okay,
All right.
okay, stick around. I'm going to open the phone lines in just a sec.
Okay.
Okay, so, number 3 was destroy the people's faith in their natural leaders by holding the latter up to contempt, ridicule, and... How to say that? That was a strange word. Interesting word. Anyway, number 4, always preach true democracy, but seize power as fast and ruthlessly as possible. Number 5, by encouraging government extravagance, destroy its credit, produce fear of inflation with rising prices and general discontent. Number 6, foment unnecessary strikes in vital industries, encourage civil disorders, and foster lenient and soft attitudes on the part of government towards such disorders. By specious argument, cause the breakdown of the old moral virtues, honesty, sobriety, confidence, faith in the pledged word, and ruggedness. And C, cause the registration of all firearms on some pretext with a view towards confiscating them and leaving the population helpless. So, there you go. The communist rules for revolution. There's a lot more information like this that you can come across and find around that has been discovered and found out. But nevertheless, getting into the minds of the elite and how they destroy the confidence and the unity of the public, something we must not let happen. So let's open the phone lines now. And I know I muted a couple people. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, like I said I would. And anyone who'd like to speak up, I know we've got quite a few people here, but whoever would like to talk, let's start and we'll chat. Who's here? Carmen, are you there? Hey, who's this? I can just barely hear your volume's really, really low.
Okay, let me turn up my microphone.
Okay, yeah. I can just barely hear what you're saying.
Okay, I'm going to crank it up all the way.
Okay.
How about that?
No, it's no difference at all. Very, very quiet. Can hardly hear you.
Not better? Because I can hear a huge echo on mine.
No better at all. I don't think I don't even know if people on the stream can even hear what you're saying. You sound like you're way at the other end of a room or something.
Okay, I'll try to call back in later. I just want to let you know the live stream was working until I closed it and then try to rejoin. Then I hit the pre-show music. And is there another chat that people can use? Or?
What's that? Say the last sentence again.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to. I'll email you about the chat stuff. I'm just curious if you could please spell that bitter immune system boosting you're talking about, and then I'll let the next person talk so everybody can hear.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I heard about half of what you said, but the volume is so low I can hardly hear you. But call back in even tonight if you want to.
Know the name of that.
The name of the what? Say it again. I'm going to crank you up as loud as I can. Go ahead. Say it one more time. The name of the what?
Yeah, can you please spell the name of the bitter root that boosts your immune system?
Oh, okay. It's a combination of herbs called immune stimulator.
Oh, no, the other one, the bitter one.
Oh, hirataki. Hirataki. It's an Indian herb. Yep.
How do you spell it?
Let me look it up for you. I actually don't know off the top of my head. There it is. Okay, it's Haritaki. So Hira, Hari, Taki, Taki, and you can usually get it. As a powder, and you can encapsulate it yourself. I'm sure somebody probably has it in capsules too. I'm sure you can find it in capsules. But yeah, Hirataki's got some amazing research on what it does for you.
Okay, thanks. I'll call back in from a different phone next time. Thanks a lot.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for the information too. All right. Who else is out there who'd like to talk on the console? I gave you a couple ideas about how we can try to spread the word, try to get public officials involved. Anything you want to talk about, whatever's on your mind, phone lines are open. Speak up. You're on. Anybody? Okay, we have a quiet bunch tonight. Quite a few people on the call-in console, which is great to hear. And I also am getting feedback from people saying that the live stream is still working, so that's awesome. I hope I gave you some useful information tonight about how chemtrails work, what they smell like. I only wish that people cared enough about this issue to be actively involved, even when there's just a handful of people out there saying, look, I smell it, I taste it, it's dramatically affecting my health, because you can bet that if you are being doused with mercury and aluminum and barium and cadmium and lead and arsenic, that is going to shorten your lifespan. In fact, the particulates in the air have already shortened your lifespan. That's scientifically fact that no scientist would refute. So how many years have you lost off your life? What is it worth? Is it worth 5 minutes a day? Is it worth 10 minutes a day? What are people willing to do, even if they're just acting selfishly on their own behalf? I mean, do we have to appeal to people's selfishness? No, I believe I'm preaching to the choir, because the people I'm talking to who listen to the show are people who already care, because you're here because you care for the most part. But if you're someone who's here who's exploring the subject and you're not familiar about it, you're not sure if it's really happening, let me tell you something. This is my testimony that I put my word behind, and I'm telling you the truth. I smell it. I taste it. It is deadly real. It causes me tremendous inflammation, tremendous pain. It has ruined the quality of my life. I'm keeping myself functional with supplements and herbs and vitamins, and making my diet more and more strict. That's the only way. Let me tell you, before chemtrails happened, I felt like Superman. I could eat anything, I could sleep whenever I wanted, and I felt fantastic all the time. And the day in November when they started spraying me, when I lived in Jamestown, New York, is the day everything changed. And now it's been over 10 years. 10 years. And now they're hiding the spray better than ever. Many days the air here is horrible. They spray through the night at very high altitudes. It reaches us during the daytime, and you don't see anything in the sky, or they're spraying at such high altitudes that you've got to sit there and look and pierce the sky with your eyes in order to see the spraying. We are losing. And I want to tell people the hard truth, because living a lie is not going to do anybody any good at all. There's only a handful of people who are actively involved, even though tens and tens of thousands of people know about this, have heard about it, and they're sitting on the sidelines hoping somebody does something about it. I'm going to warn you right now, for those who are on the fence, first of all, thank you to those who are involved. My heart goes out to you, and I'm so incredibly grateful for what you do. I cannot tell you how grateful I am. But for those of you who are sitting on the fence, you've been sitting there, we're losing because of you. We're losing because you're fearful about the repercussions, or you are unwilling to act, or even if it's 5 minutes a day, to educate people, or first educate yourself, or tell your friends. There is no more room in the world for us to be cowardly or fearful or hesitant to do the right thing. We are reaching critical mass. The environment is falling around us, and it's from the poisons that are being intentionally injected. I mean, the problem we had before with pollution is a drop in the bucket to the problem we have now, because this stuff is now everywhere. The poison is ubiquitous. That's the heart attacks. I call them the big four: cancer, strokes, aneurysms, heart attacks. How many people have you seen die in the last 10 years since spraying has become really widespread and global? It's been unbelievable. I've had people send me emails that go, my God, what is happening? People are passing away quickly. People are falling over, having heart attacks and aneurysms and strokes. People are getting cancer all over the place. Why is this happening? We know why it's happening. There is no magic to this. There is no mystery. It's just simply cause and effect. And it's kind of like this. When I was in the hospital for my heart attack in 2011, this is when I first learned about how important potassium is, because barium steals potassium from your body. And if your potassium gets low enough, you'll begin having fibrillations, and if it gets low enough, you'll have a heart attack. They couldn't find any problems with my heart except one thing. The only functional problem they found with my heart is that I had extremely low potassium. And when I started supplementing with potassium, after my heart problems diminished tremendously. Now, it doesn't mean they completely go away because I have a hyperinflammatory reaction to some of the things that they spray, especially I won't get into details right now, but a couple types they spray are particularly bad for me. And sometimes I feel like maybe I shouldn't talk about that publicly, or maybe I should. But nevertheless, I still have inflammation. But some of the heart problems, a particular type that were related to low potassium, are gone now because now I know better. And the night that I was in the hospital, the third night, they sprayed Bangor so bad. I'm sorry, was it second night, Tuesday night? The second night I was there, the spraying was so bad I asked my friend to go bring me my wet mask, and I laid in bed with my wet mask on all night. My nurse didn't show up for a test I was supposed to have that night. I know I've told the story before, many of you heard it. He didn't show up till 8 hours later, came back and said, "I'm sorry, I know we missed your test. I know your alarm on your IV machine's been going off all night. I was up all night. I had to hit the button every 15 minutes or 10 minutes because it would mute it, and then it would unmute after 10 minutes. My IV ran out, and I called the desk twice, and nobody would come. And I found out why. The nurse showed up and said, "I don't know what's going on, but everybody is having respiratory and heart problems tonight." Well, guess what? It's not magic. It's not magic. It's not coincidence. It's cause and effect. That was the worst night of spraying that I experienced out of all 4 of the nights that I was in a hospital. So why did they all happen on that night? Because those people who are particularly sensitive were having a reaction. Go ahead. I have a caller on here who wants to speak. Go ahead. Anybody there wants to speak?
Oh, that must have been me saying, wow.
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. This is just incredible that they can do this to our population all over the planet. I'm amazed when I think about what it's doing to people. And, I just can't say enough. Thank you so much for doing what you do. I have a tiny little group called Toxic Cocktail, and you're all welcome to it. I think you're already in it, Russ. But, this is so important to let everybody know. I'm a realtor. I go out and I show properties all day long. And more they're spraying over the top of us. And I usually make a comment. It's like my open door. I get out of the car with my clients. I look up in the air and go, oh, my God, they're spraying us again. And do you know, 10 years ago, nobody knew what I was talking about? But more and more lately, I would say probably at least 1/3 of the people that get out of the car know what I'm talking about now. And that's because we are vocal. And we have to continue being vocal. We have to raise money and get those giant billboards that Jane was doing. Mm-hmm. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh. We should have those everywhere. We need to get together, all of us that know what's going on, and do fundraisers, whatever it takes to get those billboards. I'm near Interstate 15, and there's a lot of traffic that comes up towards Las Vegas. That would be an excellent place for a billboard. I don't know what they cost. If you want, I can try and figure out what it would cost, or find a landowner that will allow us to put one up there at no charge.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have, if you're looking at the live stream right now, for those who can see it, we do have a page on the Global Skywatch website about chemtrail billboard projects. And yeah. And there's someone there who has offered to help, named Sherry, and here you can see it if you're looking at the live stream. Sherry has offered her free services she's done this several times now, and she will teach you how to get a billboard up in your area. She will personally tutor you and help you with that. And she's got all her contact information on here. So for those who want that information, and yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it too, that would be great. But for those who want to see what's already there, and I should talk to you too about getting your information if people want to contact you, if you want to do something like this, no pressure, but it's up to you. Go to the globalskywatch.com website, click on projects right here.
Okay.
And then scroll down, and right here you'll see chemtrail billboards right there. So click on that, and there you go. There's the chemtrail billboards project, and people can see more about that too. But I totally agree with you. We need to make this go mainstream. People need to see this on a billboard. They need to see it on the nightly news. They need to see it in the editorial of the newspaper. They need to hear about it. Anybody can do a live stream. If you want to do a live stream or Ustream or or YouTube stream, or I know you need some technical ability, but people are willing, or make a blog and talk about your personal experiences, but everybody needs to do what they can. But yes, I agree with you. Billboards need to go up.
Yeah, if they were everywhere, it would make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm in California, and I have access to all the property records in California. So if you have any listeners that, are interested in doing this in California, I can help.
Okay, very good. If you, I'll tell you what, why don't you email me your contact information, and then anyone who's interested in California in helping out with something like this, you email me, and I will put you in contact with, this is Carmen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put you in contact with Carmen, and then you two can work together on seeing what you can do. And fun people are very quick.
That'd be awesome. We could cover our state because they're spraying us all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely. I want to encourage everybody to. People are very, very quick. The quickest funded projects to raise awareness about chemtrails have been billboards. So, I mean, if you want to you need to raise $2,000 or $5,000 for a billboard, let me tell you, it can happen very quickly. And I don't care what website is up there. If you want to put Global Skywatch on the billboard, or you want to put geoengineeringwatch.org or any other website that you think has the message you want to share, then that's fine. And getting artwork done, I know people who will do the artwork for free. So we just need the money, and we need the people to coordinate it. That's all we need. And the money's easy. We got plenty of people willing to donate. What else do you think, Carmen? Anything else?
Well, another thought I had was just the little signs that they do for political things. You can just stick them in the ground. You see the real estate signs with little arrows on them that go, they're like so cheap. We could get those and put them up. Like when there's a major spray day in our particular areas, we could get those signs and just run around to the major intersections, throw a sign up, and then pull it up, the next day, and so they don't get taken or anything. As long as we're legal about where we put our signs, we can do it. And we can just, say, look up. What are they spraying us with? Something along those lines. Just so people will, it'll trigger something, and then maybe they'll hear something else and figure it out. And, we could put our websites on there, whatever,
Absolutely.
The main thing is we need to get the word out there.
Yeah,
we are a huge country, and this is happening globally. If we can do something about it here, it will spread globally.
Absolutely.
And I know they have many problems in other countries.
Absolutely. If
I
you're
have
watching,
people on my sites from all over the world.
Yes, they do. Tell your site again real quick. What is it called, and where can people find your site?
I'm on Facebook, Toxic Cocktail.
Toxic Cocktail. Find that group. Is it a group?
Yeah.
Okay, it's an open group. People can find it on Facebook just by doing a search?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Now in line with what you just said, Carmen, I want people to check out globalskywatch.com website. Look under the Global Skywatch Mall. It's called the GS Mall. And this is a place where we're building for people who want to offer materials, even if they're paid. They don't have to be free. But if you have a bumper sticker or a sign or something that you can offer to help raise awareness, we can put you in the mall. We can put your product in the mall, and you can sell it from there through PayPal. So this is another project we're doing. We've got a couple people there, but we want to get more. Click the GS Mall here at the top, this link, and you'll come down into this section. And if you're looking at the stream, right now, if you click the Global Skywatch store, because we actually offer bumper stickers and signs, that's the things that I have personally put together. So click on Global Skywatch store in the left sidebar. And here you'll see we've got a globalskywatch.com bumper sticker. We've got a urgent bumper sticker called globalskywatch.com before it's too late to really get people's attention. Then we have another one which is very interesting called endgeoengineering.com. Now, the endgeoengineering.com website is specifically designed to help new people understand this subject. And if you're listening and you're a web designer and you know how to make responsive websites, I know I could do it, but time is very constrained for me. We want to revamp this website. It is working, but anyone out there who does website design who wants to donate time, we would like this to be redesigned so it's fully responsive for mobile use. We're going to trim it down and trim the information down. I'd like to talk to you. Contact me. Russ at globalskywatch.com is my email. Contact me. That endgeoengineering.com website is perfectly designed for new people to get involved in this. So there's that geoengineering.com bumper sticker, Chemtrails Kill bumper sticker, and what Carmen was just talking about. Here is a yard sign, just like a real estate sign, endgeoengineering.com. It's a nice, durable sign. I have one in front of my house. It's been there for 4 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, through the winters, through the blizzards, and it is still holding up perfectly.
Perfect. And how much is it?
It is $26.85, and that's insured, shipped.
That's a bargain.
Well, listen, you can get them cheaper. If anybody in any area wants to make these, I don't care whether you put geoengineering.com on there, your own website, whatever. If you want to help us and you think that you can sell 20 in your area, you can save a lot, because a lot of this is shipping and packing materials. Now, if they can be sent from the manufacturer directly to you, you can get them for almost half price, because a lot of that is shipping and packing, and insurance. So if you want to buy 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 at a time, contact me, russ@globalskywatch.com, and I will set you up so you can use this sign, get them shipped right to you, and you can distribute them in your area, or you can sell them if you want, or you can make up your own sign for your own website, whatever it is, any way to get the word out. So here it is. This is where you can find the yard signs, and here's a nice big picture of the one that's up in my front yard right now.
That's awesome. You know what we should probably do also is collaborate on an editorial that everybody can send to their local papers.
Yes, absolutely. We need
because
to work together.
People would do it if they didn't have to write it. We could give them the verbiage, and they can just put their name on it. I'll write it, and they can put their name on it and put it in the newspaper.
Yes, I completely agree. And we do know, and this is a perfect place for it. If you go to the Global Skywatch website, click numerous resources down here in the bottom center under the activism column, right there, for those who are watching the stream. And we have print literature, music, promotional items, labs, bumper stickers, DVDs, clip art, memes, maximum contaminant levels, new units of measurements, clip art, all kinds of stuff. I mean, and one of the things that we have here are speaking aids. For instance, if you're giving a speech and you need an outline, they're already made right here. Conferencing services.
Perfect.
I mean, and if you have ideas that we can add to this resources section, please let us know. But there are hundreds of resources here to help you get the word out. Labs, promotional items, sign making, and I want to have what you're saying. We have something written up here. Print literature, brochures, and flyers right here. This is all free. Download it and print it, or take it to a printer, or print it on your own printer, whatever you want. And they're not all. In fact, most of them don't even. I didn't design any for our website. These are all other people's websites, which is just fine. I don't care which website they go to, as long as they get good information and this is exposed. But that's something we should do, Carmen. That we will have an area put on here where we can have editorials, one or more, which people can just take word for word and send them to their local media.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, your call-in program to the, our congressman.
Yes.
I don't know. I think we need to start hitting the water companies, too. I mean, why is this not a big deal with our waters? The aluminum is everywhere now.
Yes. And not only that, but farmers.
Exactly.
I mean, this is impacting the soil. They're having to spend money to condition the soil to counteract the acidity that's being caused, or the alkaline problems, whatever it is, that the soil.
And our pollinators.
Yes.
The bees are all dying from this. We're not going to have anything to pollinate our crops.
That's right. And the powers that be want to offer us mechanical bees, artificial drone bees.
Oh.
Imagine that.
God.
So now they're going to own everything. In order to pollinate, we can't get the free, the freebies that were provided with this planet free of charge that do the best job possible. But now we're going to have to pay the powers that be to supply our farmers with the bees to pollinate. I mean, this is where we're headed.
Makes those?
I don't know. It was proposed somewhere. I saw an article where it was being proposed at some university, and some companies were latching onto the idea and talking about designing such a thing. So it's in the works. I'm sure we'll see something come out in the next 5 years, probably. or sooner.
That's just crazy.
It is crazy, but this is where it's going, the centralization of power. They want to own and control everything, and they're destroying nature, and they're going to replace it with the artificial that they profit from. So they have absolute control. So don't let it happen. It's up to you, and there's a window of opportunity to prevent this from happening, but it's up to people getting educated and involved in this subject. Otherwise, the price that we're going to pay for people's inactivity is going to be the dearest and worst price that you can imagine. I'm not trying to be alarmist. That's reality. That's where we're headed. And I don't want to see us go there.
No, we have to do this for our kids so they have a planet.
Absolutely. Well, Carmen, those are...
living.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I totally agree. You had some great ideas. The editorial, the billboard things that you were talking about, the yard signs, all of that. And you being willing to help out there in California. Again, if anybody wants to contact me, I'll put you in contact with Carmen, Russ at globalskywatch.com. And Carmen, I hope you email me as well so I can have your contact information to share with those individuals who do write.
I think you already have it, but I'll send it to you again.
Okay, that might be good. I've got probably about 100 emails in my inbox for Global Skywatch that I haven't been able to process yet. So it's a constant battle for time for me. But listen, anything else you'd like to share? I got a number of other callers. Let me let other people on the line as well. And anybody who wants to speak up, anything you'd like to share?
No, let's let somebody else give their ideas.
Well, thank you for what.
Comments.
Absolutely, thank you for what you're doing, Carmen. Thank you for your suggestions.
You're welcome, please.
Thank you for caring. I thank you. I mean, I honestly.
I'm here. Whatever I can do to help.
Thank you so much. As someone who suffers from this, I'm sitting here sweating because the air right now. No, I'm telling you, I have these. I don't know if people feel these waves of sweat that because, and it's not because of the temperature. It's because of the stuff that's in the air that is burning my sinuses, and it just makes my body want to detox, and I just feel so yucky, horrible, and I have all these symptoms, and I am very, very thankful for people who care enough to get involved. So thank you for what you're doing, Carmen. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. Have a good night. Anyone else who wants to speak up who's on the console, now is your time. Anybody want to talk? Any ideas? Want to pitch in? Contributions? Thoughts? If not, I'll close the show out, but I want to give you another 15 seconds to speak up and then have a conversation with you if you want. Now's your chance. We're going to be trying to be consistent with the Global Skywatch radio show, and I want to also let people know that it is not so much of a show anymore, although we are going to have guests and we are going to have a show format to some degree, and we're going to continue streaming it, but it's going to migrate into kind of a meeting where we can coordinate our efforts and get ideas and work together and make contacts. And I want to show people right now, if you're looking at the live stream, please, if you have a skill you want to share or you need a skill, go to globalskywatch.com and go to the projects link right here in the middle. And right here, we have a couple sections. One is called Public Project Coordination Center. Get helpers for your project. I have a skill I want to share. If you go to the Coordination Center, you click on that link, and it has two forms, okay, or three forms. One of them are the Project Coordination Center. Here are two projects in the works. One is called Telemarketing Chemtrails. One of them is How Are Chemtrails Affecting Your Health? These forms are created by those people who are managing projects. And when you're managing a project and you need a form for people to communicate with each other on, and you don't want to use Facebook because you don't want them spying on you, you can use our form, and I'll create a form for you so that you can use it, coordinate with your people. If you need galleries or whatever you need, let me know. We'll make it for you. Also, there's a Get Helpers for Your Project link. You click on here, and we have a form here with people who are asking for help with their projects, and they tell you what they need. So go in here and see if somebody needs a skill that you have and contact them. And the last but not least, I have a skill I want to share. Click on this link right here. And if you have a skill you want to share, do you burn DVDs? Because not everybody can burn DVDs. Can you burn them? Can you write flyers? Can you design signs? Do you do graphic artworks? Do you do voiceovers? Are you good with computers? I'll tell you, we just need people good with computers to help other people. You know, how do you do this? How do you do that? What software do you use? Offer your help and come here and let people know what you do. We have a few people listed here, but this is sad. We have 4 people listed here. We need to get it together. You know, if you've got a skill you want to share, and we need you to put your information here so people can find you and we can make contact. This is how we're going to do this, is by people working together. We have to have a massive coordinated effort, and that's what these forums are designed for. So one more time, click on projects at globalskywatch.com, and you'll see the 3 major sections right there that you can go to ask people for help or to share your skill. All right, anyone else want to speak up?
Hi, it's Kim from Maine.
Hey, Kim from Maine. Kim, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad you guys all came out and joined us tonight, and everyone's had a lot of good things to say. I like hearing the activism. I like to hear action in motion. I like to hear creativity, and it's good that people are putting their creativity to good use. That's awesome.
It's excellent. Do you see the live stream? Are you able to see it right now? Because I can't see it. It's just died for me.
The live stream's showing, but it's not. The comments on the right aren't doing anything. It's the comments below that we could see still moving.
Yeah. All right. It's going to be
Is that weird?
Yeah, live stream this year, the last several months, live stream has completely just been horrible, and nothing against live stream. I mean, before that, live stream was incredible. It was very robust, very solid.
Yeah.
I don't know what the problem is. I'm going to contact them, and if we can't get this fixed, we're going to move to some other streaming provider. But it's very frustrating to see that happen, and we lose people because they can't see the stream. But anyway, this show will be posted probably later tonight, so people can hear it. So what do you want to share, Kim? We're probably going to go on for the next 15 minutes at most. So if anyone wants to speak up, please feel free if you're on the call-in console. And Kim, in the meantime, what do you want to share with everyone?
Well, you're right. There's been a lot of changes with the live stream lately, and if you do decide to go ahead and get a hold of them, just make sure you let them know what your frustration is and that you have people waiting on you every week. And see if they'd be willing to give you a month or two free.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. And before I forget, Kim, let me just interject this. If anyone out there knows or knows someone who does server administration for live streams or Red 5, this is one of the there's a software server called Red 5, which is a free streaming software server. And I set one up a while ago, and I got it working partially, but I couldn't and didn't have time to fully decode. If you know anybody who's an IT person who would be willing to donate a little bit of effort and time, please send them my way, Russ at globalskywatch.com. And I would love help because my time is so restricted, and I'm making time, very valuable time, to do this this coordination session tonight, this show, if you want to call it a show, only because I think it's vital to try to build something like this up. But in the meantime, I do need help. So if you do IT administration work, Linux administration, Red 5 administration, streaming server ideas, contact me because I need help because I don't have the time to do it myself. And I'd love to stream from our own server. We've got plenty of bandwidth. We got lots of power, but we just don't have the software set up. So please help me. But in the meantime, I will contact Livestream. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah. Would you think that would be something that maybe you could write a little discussion in the I need help section that we were just talking about?
Absolutely. I don't have that in there. That's something, in fact, I could make a whole list of things that I could put in that section. But yeah, that is one thing that I'd like to get done ASAP because we need a reliable streaming service. I will contact Livestream this week if creek don't rise. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I will contact them this week, but other than that, I would love to have our own streaming server because this does cost me every month quite a bit out of pocket. And this is all out of pocket, so it does take a hit on my finances. What else is on your mind? Kim, anything?
Well, one thing that seems to still work, though, like even though we're dealing with a little bit of that frustration there, once the people call in, they'll be able to hear everything, and then we can leave comments below. So while they're trying to work this out, I can try to pay attention, and there's a couple of us that were able to figure it out kind of quickly how to get through it. But people can still comment, at least, right underneath the very bottom. Because even after you end a show, I noticed that from years of hanging out with you on Mondays, even after the show is ended, people can still chat if they want to. They go right below the thing and chat down there. There's also the other option, which is a private chat group, using an account through Chat and Go. So if, say, for any reason, let's say something comes up, Russ, and like halfway through the week you figure out, okay, this Monday it's not going to work out. So you might announce it. And then what I could do is offer people just another meeting spot, kind of just a place to just discuss things, just like chatting like we're doing, in the text box below. But maybe just use the Chat and Go and give people a chance to do that. Because some of them that listen in, they don't have Facebook. So I'm thinking maybe if we gave a couple different options for people that, for whatever reason, if they want to chat after a show, or if they, for some reason, can't get in on it.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. That's part of the reason why I would love to have I'd love to stream it from our own server. If somebody can help me with a setup of a Red 5 server or VLC, what is it called? VLC. If anybody is an IT person out there, you might recognize some of these words. But I was looking at VLC. There's 3 systems. I know Adobe has one, but that's really pricey. Can't afford that. But if we can get a free open source VLC or Red 5 server working, then we can put one of those Chat and Go or Chat Tango, whatever it is, one of those right next to the chat box. I know we could always go with like a Shoutcast, like a Winamp. And if we have to, we'll do that. I think that's a free service from that we can do. That's audio only that we can embed. The only thing is I really like having video capability. It's really nice to be able to show people videos and stuff on the screen. Like if you're watching the stream right now and you're able to still see it, you can see me showing you the website and where links are and where to go. Audio, you don't have that luxury, so I really like the video capability. If we can't do video, that's fine. We'll go ahead and switch to audio only, but really would like to do video. And I'd be fine with keeping the live stream account if they can just become reliable again like they used to be. Boy, the first couple of years, they were just rock solid. I was very happy, very impressed. But, man,
I actually checked out quite a few places, too, over the summer. And the thing that I liked about this site is the video capability, because when you're trying to let people know how to find out where to get flyers, when you're trying to let people know how to, 5 minutes of action, there's a lot of good stuff there where people can, take 5 minutes a day and come up with some different things. Plus, where you have a skill that you can offer, I mean, it's cool that you can literally just break it down step by step where to find it on the home site, and I think that that's been extremely helpful. I mean, what I do is I have my document, my activism document, and I'll have my favorite places on globalskywatch.com that I use, like, consistently, like, all the time. So if somebody wants to know, hey, where can I get flyers? Well, I go to the place, and then I save the link, and I put it in my document. I mean, that's good. I mean, I'm organized that way because I'm so busy. I've got so much going on that I really feel like I want to stay involved. I want to get action, but it's really helpful if you know where to go, how to navigate the web page. But if you don't, it's nice to have a document. If you remember, hey, this is where we can get flyers. Let's save this. And then maybe someone's listening to the program, and they're like, well, hey, I have a skill I can offer, and I want to really be able to figure this out. And so when you can actually show them, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What I really like.
Absolutely. And, there's great software out there like Red 5 and VLC, I guess it was, whatever, those other ones. And if it's time for me, because I'm running my own business with my business partner, which is a full-time job, plus I'm doing this, plus I'm maintaining the multiple websites, plus I'm helping to maintain the Facebook group, and it's I have no life. I'm doing this just at the sacrifice of my own life, basically. So if anyone can help, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So, but I do like having the video. I totally agree with you. Gotta have the video if possible.
Amen. I mean, I have a free live stream channel, but all I can do with that is I can just talk to people and they can chat, but they can't call in. So there's some pros and cons with some of that stuff, but I wonder if there's a spot on globalskywatch.com where we could post a couple of these things just for people. Like, of course, we've got the main page where you've got your Global Skywatch radio link, and you can jump right in it. But I'm wondering if there's another spot where we could just put up a daily chat, like a live chat, that it might not get hit every day. People might not show up all at the same time, but I wonder if there's a place there where we could just put just a private chat that you basically would have to know where to find it in order to get to it.
Certainly. Yeah, there's no problem. I've actually put chat rooms up before. There's several free good ones, and I could use a Chat Tango. What's your favorite chat service? Have you used different ones? I've seen the Chat Tango or Chat to Go, whatever it's called, and I've seen another one out there. They both are real fancy and colorful and have all kinds of smileys and stuff. But have you tried multiple ones? And if so, do you have a favorite?
I've tried a couple, but the one that I've stuck with, I've been with this one for pretty close to 10 years, and it's the Chat and Go. And the different things about that is you can, if you have like a lot of the people that are activists have their own website. It could be small. Like I have my own website. It is so small. It's really cheap. But there's an area in our forum where I can load the Chat and Go. So it takes quite a few steps for people to get to it. But that's what I like about it, is if you're trying to avoid the trolls and the shills that want to just come in and have a free-for-all, you have to literally post the link in order for someone to find you. Or, someone might save it. It's totally up to the person. But you can, with that, of course, you can block certain people. You can create your own name. And then once people figure out who's going to chat every week, you can become friends with people. And it's a little bit like a social platform in that, like the people that I met like 10 years ago, I'll have my friend list and they'll all be lit with green if they're on or whatever. So I kind of like that one a little bit because it has the availability to be private, non-private, public, however you want to do it.
Okay, the Chat and Go then.
Yep.
Oh, very good. Okay, yeah, I've used that on the network that Dane and I had the show on Global Geoengineering Watch Radio for a long time. We were on a network where they used that, so and it worked out very well. So yeah, that would be good. But yeah, I would love to have streaming video. That's very exciting to me. I spent a tremendous amount of time a couple years ago getting a Red 5 server, and I set it up, got it working. I am an IT guy myself. I set it up, got it working, and it would work for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then people would start dropping out. And I just pulled my hair out. I went through everything. I had everything set up correctly. I mean, and you might remember the early days where we just had all those problems where I was streaming right from the Global Skywatch website. And it was just, so that's finally when I just, bit the bullet and went ahead with live stream and started dishing out the money to do that. And one day I was talking to another IT person, and they said, what it might be is it might be GoDaddy, because if you have a GoDaddy server, they are squeezing your streaming bandwidth, even though we have a ton of bandwidth. That they were saying that's probably your problem. Wow, I never thought of that because everything on the server side is set up right. So, I mean, even if we had to get another server, I mean, I'm spending $50 a month on live stream alone. I mean, if I needed to get another server for $50 a month just for streaming, it would be the same amount, and we'd have much more flexibility. And I'd be happy to do that if we have to go with another, get another server, another provider at no additional cost to me. That would be acceptable to me. Of course, it'd be nice not to have to do that, but if I still have to keep paying the $50 a month, then that's all right. I'll do that. I can afford it right now, fortunately. But anyway, I just want, I really want to see people get involved. And unfortunately, the coordination that we have among people, I mean, we have 53,000 people in the group, 1,600 people waiting to get in. Of course, that's a vetting job that's going to take me many hours. That's waiting on my doorstep, and I'm wondering where I'm going to squeeze all that time in. But so where are the 1,000 people? Where's the 1%, the 500 people, even 1% of people who are in that group that would be helping us or coordinating with each other or something? I don't know, Kim. I don't know. Something better happens soon.
I think a lot of people, they're well intended, but they add a ton of their friends, and they're not really thinking, I want to add 10 out of 100 of my friends. They'll just add everybody. So we're getting a lot of friend bombs, I think, in the Facebook group, and it's overwhelming because, like you said, these people are literally waiting at the gate to come in, and some of them don't even know it. Like, they don't even know they've been added. And so you've got all these people that are just piling up and piling up.
I'm still kind of okay with that, though, because I'd rather have the opportunity for those people who get placed in the group by other people to have the opportunity to at least be exposed to the subject. You know, at least there are people. I mean, I've seen people say, a friend of mine added me to this group. I don't know anything about this, and they got a little education about it. And whether they agreed with it, believed it or not, or even stayed in the group, at least now they know that this is out there. And at some point, these people are going to turn around and realize this is true, because it is true. It is really happening. And at some point, these people are going to wake up. And it's going to, sometimes you need to be exposed to something 3 to 7 times before it really hits you that, wow, this is real and I need to be involved in this. So it's okay with me personally if people add other people to the group. I think it's not a bad idea. But I do think you're right. I mean, so many of those people in there were added, and that's why they're not active. But I'm thinking, what about 1%? Can't we get 1% of the people doing something? You know, I mean, this is end of the world, end of the era type of stuff that's happening. You know, there's more.
Yeah, we've got so many people, and I think just the fact that a lot of them don't know they've been added could be why they're not responding. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. Well, that could be. But I do agree with what Carmen said. Billboards, yard signs are very powerful, and I'll bring that up one more time. We're coming up. It's actually 1 minute to 11, so we're going to draw the program to a close here in just a minute. But for those who want to look at the projects area, I'm showing you on the screen. Go to projects and then scroll down to the billboard section. And here's information on billboards. If you want to get one up in your area, you can get some good information here. You can have people tutor you and help you through the process. If you want a blog, you don't have the first clue what to do, contact me. I can get you a blog I can show you where you can get a blog. I can't get you, but I can help you get it for $3.50 a month is about the cost. It's your own private blog. You have full control over it, and you can get free tutoring. I can show you how to get fully tutored on how to use your blog, and you can go on there anytime you want and write articles, and the more the better, you know, or even repost articles that we've put up, you know, or other activists have put up. But just get that information out there. So it's not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of commitment of time. But I hope people catch on soon. Well, Kim, it's 11 o'clock. We've got to close out here. But is there anything else you'd like to share with people before we sign off for the evening?
Just try to remain creative and stay vigilant, and stay in touch with Global Skywatch, any way you can, whether it's emails or chats that we set up or Facebook or the home site. Consider what it means to you, and, how devoted do you really want to be to this? And even if you don't have much spare time, could you possibly find any at all? Hang in there, folks.
And do you want to introduce yourself to people for what you do with our Global Skywatch Facebook group?
Sure, yep. I am right now working with an awesome team of administrators. Head administrator of Chemtrails Global Skywatch, and I oversee over 50,000 people, and we're seeing thousands and thousands of comments a day. We do our best to try to keep the page clean and try to keep respect of people sharing their views, opinions, and experiences. And it can be pretty challenging because sometimes people will come in and try to just dump any old thing in there, and it could be what they're interested in, and it could just be sometimes just a joke or sometimes something not so nice. And it's a little bit of a challenge to try to keep that stuff out and make everybody happy. But I think we've grown as quick and fast as we have because we really do have a strong fellowship, and that's one of the most important things for me as an administrator of the group, to try to give people some freedom, but also offer a little bit of structure and give everybody a place to feel strong and safe, that they can talk about the things that they need to, and if something is wrong or if they don't like something. That my door is always open. People know if they need something is urgent and it looks wrong, they can report to administrators, and anybody that comes in will hopefully answer the call and look at the situation and try to resolve it. We try to deal with each issue as best as we can. But, everybody has a life outside. I have a child, just finishing up my college degree, and I've been pretty much right out straight, but this cause is extremely important to me. It's important to the life of my child, and I really want the world to be a better place. And the only way that that's going to happen is if I take an active role in what I want to see happen. I need to believe in what I'm doing, and I do, and I want to believe in others that also want to participate and try to make some change. So bear with us, have patience, and pitch in whenever you can. That's all I can say.
Well said. Well, thank you, Kim. And I want people to know that without Kim, there would not be the success that we have with the Global Skywatch Facebook group or the other projects that we do, because Kim has been an integral part for a long, long, long time, has been devoted and given a big part of her life, and has been consistent and helpful and devoted, and I'm just eternally thankful. And I thank all of the groups of all of our administrators for the in the Facebook group as well, who also help and work out problems and help to vet people and help to keep order in the group and keep it functional and productive. So that is something I'm very grateful for, to all of them. So thank you, Kim, for all you do. And for those of you who have joined us tonight, please spread the word. We're going to be here every Monday night, and we're going to be coordinating projects, and we will have guests occasionally. And I know that people have requested that I talk more about the elite. I've studied government corruption for about 30 years now. I'm not saying that I'm the foremost expert on this, but by any means, I'm not. I don't ever like to talk like that. I really couldn't care less about who's the great expert. What's more important to me is getting truth and good information out there so we can live better lives and protect ourselves against what's going on and do good in the world. And by making people aware of these atrocities that are going on, including chemtrails, and people can protect themselves. And that's really important to me, especially being someone who personally suffers every moment of every day for the past, how long has it been now? 11 years? We're pushing 11 years since I first experienced this on a daily basis. 11 years. I thought we would be a lot farther than this, and we're not. So, I'm doing what I can. My conscience is clean. I'm doing the best that I can, and I hope other people who are working will continue to work. But we'll be here every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Go to globalskywatch.com/live, and you can get the phone numbers for calling in, and the live stream link is there as well. Please invite others to join us every week. We will be, hopefully, as our group grows again. We had a pretty good group going for a while, but we stopped for a while, and now we're continuing. But as we grow again, we'll have coordination. We'll have very time-efficient networking of people together to get things done and to get these billboards up, to get signs in people's lawns, to get bumper stickers on, to start contacting public officials, to get newspaper write-ups, and to get all these things that we need to do done as soon as and efficiently, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And we're going to do that largely by networking together. So that's what we need to do, and that's what this is. This is a network. We are family. We are working together to solve the largest problem we have ever faced, the largest crime against humanity in human history. People don't know about it or take it seriously now. Not everyone does, but word is spreading very quickly, and those who know about it do take it very, very seriously, because there's nothing in the history of humanity that we've ever faced that has the power to destroy, as do the spraying of toxic metals and chemicals and herbicides from the atmosphere onto the ground. We've never faced a problem like this before, and I hope we never have to again. But I hope we never have to again for good reasons, not because it went badly. Whether it goes well or badly is up to you. So please invite people here every Monday night. We're all going to work together to solve this problem, to coordinate, to make friends, and just to support each other as well. We need support through this because this is a difficult time. People cry about this, people hurt, and I suffer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the inflammation, the pain that I suffer from the inflammation, because aluminum is, and some of these other chemicals are very inflammatory. Dr. Russell Blaylock talks about this. You can find that on the Global Skywatch website under the aluminum research as well. So please join us next week and invite people, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, to go to globalskywatch.com/live and join our live stream. We hope to see you next week. Don't forget to invite your friends. And please take 5 minutes a day at least and do something to raise awareness, because that's the first stage. We need enough of the public to know about this so that we can have the political strength we need to make a difference. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week at the same time.